Hi guys, welcome to another Drillabyte tutorial, and in this video tutorial I'll be talking about version control with Git. So the outline for this tutorial, we'll first discuss what exactly is version control, what is Git, how to download and configure Git, how to initialize a Git repo, okay, and then we'll talk about the basic Git commands and remote repositories. So let's dive right into it. So the first part of this video definitely is what exactly is version control. So now I'll give you a scenario. Let's say I have a folder on my computer and I have some Python files in that folder. Let's say I have a Python file called function.py file on my computer. Now this is a file, maybe I have some functions in it, and when I make changes to this file, I want to have a way of saving those changes, okay, or even undoing those changes. Now if you are to do that in your computer, your local machine, you are going to have some limitations, because you need a version control system. Now that version control system is going to help you track your changes to your files, and then you can be able to save your changes on a repository, and then other developers can also collaborate with you on those files, and you can get work going. So that is exactly what a version control helps you do, and why you need a version control system. So what is Git? Git is one of the version control system out there, and it's very popular, used by a lot of developers nowadays, and it's something that is worth learning, trust me guys. So I'm just going to show you in this video exactly how you can download and configure Git and start tracking changes to your files and working with Git really. So let's dive into downloading Git. So how do you download Git? The first thing you need to do is visit the Git website, download Git and configure Git. Now, but before we do that, let me just run you through something which is very important. So how does Git actually handle your files? Okay, so we talked about tracking your changes and then saving them to Git. Okay, now Git handles your files in 3 states. Okay, so the 3 states Git handles your files is called, the first state will be your directory. So you have your file directory right here, or your working directory. Sorry, I'll just clear all this and just draw this once again properly. So I have this, and like this. So like I said, 3 states right here. The first one is your working directory. So I'm just going to write working directory, okay, and then I have a staging area right here, okay, and then I have a repository. So your files will be in one of 3 states. The first state is, so your file is going to be in your working directory in Git, whereby changes made to these files, maybe your .py file for instance, will be tracked, and then you can move these changes, or you can move the files to your staging area, okay, and get them ready to be moved to your repos. Okay, so from the staging area, then you move those files into your repos. Okay, now once you move the files to your repos or your repository, I'll be using those words interchangeably. Okay, so once you move a file to your repo, that file is saved in the database. So you can always call the file from the database and then use the file, change it once again, and then the circle just continues like that. So from your working directory, changes are made, you modify the file, you move to your staging area, and then you move back to your repo, and the cycle keeps on going. So let's quickly head over to the Git website and download Git and then configure Git. So to download Git, what you need to do is visit the Git website, and that's git-scm.com/downloads, and you have the option of downloading different Git files. So I'm using a Windows machine, so in my case I'll just click on the Windows and have it downloaded. if you're using a Mac or a Linux operating system, just click on any one of your choice and download it. Now installing Git is very easy. You just have to follow the installation prompts and you have Git installed onto your system. Now when you're done downloading and install Git, and of course if you have any challenge, just drop it in the comment section and I'll do well to attend to your needs. So after you're done downloading this Git onto your system, you are going to have this Git bash. Okay, now simply open up the Git bash and show you configurations that you need to perform after downloading Git. So the first Git configuration you need to perform is the setting up your username and your email. So to set up your username and your email, you just need to use the git config command. So that's git config and -- global. Okay, that's to tell it that you want whatever you are setting to be globally available. Okay, so you can do global or local settings. I would advise you to do global. And then username. Okay, so user.name, right? So this is the first thing you need to do. Git config -- global, then user.name, and then in quotes you put your desired username. Okay, so I'm just going to put my name. Now the implication of this setting is that whatever project I working on in my Git, okay, whatever Git repository I'm working on, the author is going to be this name I'm setting right here. Now because I've already done this, I don't need to do it again. What I can do is just show you exactly how to check for mine. So I'm going to do git config, right, and then user.name. Now when I do this and hit enter, you can see that I have my name coming up because I've already set this up. Now after setting your username, the next command you need to do is the git config, right, -- global once again, and then user email. Okay, so user.email. Now after this, you just need to type in your email. Okay, so I'm just going to type in my email at gmail.com, of course. Now because I've done this before, I don't need to hit enter. So you just need to do this once and that's all. So to show that I've done it, I'm just going to check once again by doing the git config, and then I'll do user.email. Okay, and I'll hit the enter and you can see my email comes up. Now one last command I'll show you is how to set up your default IDE, okay, for coding your files. So I can set up my default IDE, which is the Visual Studio Code, by simply doing also a git config. Okay, and note, setting this up can also be done while you are doing your installation. So during your installation, you must have seen an option for setting up your default ID. If you didn't set it up, then no problem, you can do that right now. So git config -- global, and then you are going to do code.editor, and your code editor is going to be, of course, the code editor of your choice. So I'm just going to do code for Visual Studio Code, then -- wait command. Okay, so this is the command for setting up your default IDE. Now I really don't need to do this because I already did this before, like I said. So I'm just going to delete that, and then if you've done all this, you are now ready to start creating a repository, adding your files to a staging area, and then doing a git commit. So let's start creating a Git repository. So creating a Git repository can be done using one of two commands. Either use the git clone or the git init. So I'm going to show you how to use the git init to create your own repository. Now the first thing I'll do is I'm going to really cd into my desktop right here. So cd is change directory. So I'm still using this particular git bash. Okay, so all I need to do is just cd into my desktop, right hit the enter, and you can see right here that I'm now in desktop. Okay, so once I CD into desktop, I can clear this so you have space to see exactly what I'm doing. Now the next thing I want to do is use the mkdir command, which is for make directory, and I'm going to make a python underscore course directory. Right, once I do that, you can see the python course directory is created right here on my desktop. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to create a file, so I'll use the touch command. So touch, and then I'll just create a file called index.py. okay, or I'll just create a file called functions.py. okay, and I'll hit enter. Once I hit enter, I have the functions.py created right here. What I'll do is I'll just move this into this place. Okay, so I can do ls, okay, to see exactly the files that are on my desktop, and I can easily cd into my Python file. Okay, so I need to cd into my Python file, my Python folder. Okay, my Python course folder. I'll clear this once again, so you can see right now I am in Python course folder. And then to start a Git repository, you need to use the git init command. So if I use this git init command and hit enter, then you can see initializing empty git repository in C. Okay, so once I do this, then I've actually initialized a git repository in my Python course folder, and then welcome, you can now start working with Git. So the first command I want to show you is of course, you can also use the git clone command to actually clone a repository. So you use the git clone, and then you have the URL of that repository, okay, or the SHA-1 code of the repository, and I'll explain what that means as well. So let's go on with this our local repository, which we have created right here. So the Python course repo. Now the next thing you want to do is you want to really use some command. First is the git status. Okay, so if you use the git status command, you can see I have some information coming up here, which I would really show you exactly what it means. The first thing is I have git status. It says on branch master, so it's telling me, oh, you are currently on the branch master, and I will explain what branching means as we go along with this Git course. And then it says no commits yet. Okay, and then on tracked files. Okay, so it's detecting that I have the functions.py file, but it's telling you, oh, we're not tracking this file yet. Now it's giving me a hint that I should use git add and the name of the file to include to start tracking this file really. So finally it says nothing added to commit, but on tracked files present, use git add to track. Okay, so if I want to start tracking these files, all I need to do is use the git add. Now one more command I want to show you before I start tracking the file is I will just use the git log. Okay, now the git log command currently says fatal, your current branch master does not have any commit yet, and this is in order. So to start adding commits, I'll open this up in my Visual Studio Code, and then I'll start making commits. You can actually use your Visual Studio Code to open this up right here by just doing code. Okay, and then once you do code, you can either type the name of the file, or you can just type code dot, right, and hit enter. So once you type code dot, hit enter, you discover that it actually opens the folder, okay, in your Visual Studio Code. And I'm going to show you some Visual Studio Code extensions that you can install that will really be helpful for Git commands. Okay, so let's continue. So you know, Visual Studio Code comes with some functionality that really helps you to work with Git. So you have source control, one pending change, but let's leave that for now. I'll just simply open my functions.py file. You can see it's a Python file, and I'll write a basic Python code, okay, which is print. And of course, you know, we always like to do print hello world when we're writing Python code. So I'll save this, and then I'll just run this in my terminal. I'll say go new terminal to see that this code actually works. Okay, So I'll turn this up and I'll just do python write, and then the name of the file, which is functions.py, and hit enter, and you see that I have error. Okay, what is happening? Error to not. Oh, so I made a mistake while running this file. I'm just going to clear this CLS, and so it's not functions, it's func functions.py. I have this correct spelling, and you can see my file works, right? So we have our print hello world statement. So this file is working. Now let's go back to our git here. So our git bash, we open up our git bash, and the next command we want to do sorry guys, so the next command we want to perform right here is the git add command. So if I do the git add command, right, and I hit enter, you'll see I get a message and it says nothing specified, nothing added. Why is this? Because I didn't tell Python what file I want to add to my staging area. Okay, so if I do it once again and I say git add and I put the dot and I hit enter, you see I don't get an error on the second time. That means this file has been added. Now let us just run through git status once again, and I hit enter, and you can see that right now I have no commit yet. Changes to be committed, use git rm cache file to onstage. So it's giving me hints that I can use git rm -- cached, then the name of the file, to unstage it. And I'm already seeing that I have a new file, functions.py, which is now in my staging area, right? And then once I have this, the next thing you want to do is you can use the git commit to actually push this file to your repository. So if you just say git commit, just like this, and now git commit needs one more flag, and which is the -m, which is a message. So you need to say give it a message, and my message is just going to be my first commit, right? And once I have this, I'll just hit enter, and you can see my first commit has successfully been moved to my repository. Okay, so now if I hit the git status again, if I type git status again, you can see that I have on branch master nothing to commit, working tree is clean. Okay, so you can see that I've been able to show you how you can easily initialize your repository, and after initializing your repository, how you can start tracking changes to your document or your Python file or whatever file you have in that repository. So the git init for repository. Then to track your changes, you need to use the git add. You use a dot command to tell Git that you're tracking everything in that particular repository, including subfolders, okay, and subfiles, files and subfolders as well. And then you use the git commit, and remember to add a message which would show which would tell Git exactly what is going on in that commit. Now, so this is all about the git commit. Now, one more command you can do is the git log right here. So the git log is just trying to give you a history of your commits. Okay, so once you use the git log command, you can see that I have this SHA, which is the SHA code which I told you about in the beginning, and then you have commit. Of course, you have the head and you have master. Okay, and I'll explain exactly what this head and master is. The master is the branch, and then the head is pointing to this master current branch. You have the author, which I told you, this is what I set, and my email as well. A date, very important, this is today's date which I'm making this video, and then the message is my first commit. So this is what the git log really gives you, and then you can also perform other operations, but with this alone, I can assure you, you can start working with Git and then start tracking files. Now let's do this one more time. Let me just create a function. Okay, so remember to create a function in Python. And if you have not taken our Python course, you can check the link in the description. You'll see the full Python course, and you can actually take the course and learn as we do this together. So I'm going to create a simple function, okay, and that function is going to I'm going to create a simple function in Python. So that function is going to take the name of a user, and then it's just going to print that name back to the user, but it's going to do that by simply using this hello and then the name of the user. So name, like this, okay. And of course, let us define the name. So we just say name equals input, and if you don't know what we are doing right here, please, that means you need to watch the Python introduction to Python course, which is on this channel. Check the description for that. So enter your name, or what is your name rather, sorry. Okay, so we have this, and of course you need to call your function if you want them to work. Okay, so we'll just call this function by saying func, and okay, so func, and I'm good with this. So once we call func is going to take name variable, and then it's going to print out the name. Okay, so I'm just going to say name right here and save that. So not necessarily important, I'm just doing this for doing sake. Okay, so we have defined the function right here, and then let me call this Python program once again. And if I say what is your name, and I just say Innocent and hit enter, and you can see it says hello Innocent. So we have actually done something with this particular program, and we've saved it. Okay, so now what we can do is go check in, don't need to do that. So what we can do is go check our git bash. Okay, so if I open up my git bash once again, if I simply do a git status command like this, I would see that I have modified function.py. okay, so that means I have a file modified. Like I told you, it's tracking the changes in my file. So what I need to do is run my git add once again to add, sorry, I always forget to add the name of the file. So I need to add git add dot to add every folder in that repository. And then once I'm done with that, let me clear this so that you can have some space to see what I'm doing. So once I'm done with this, I can now do the git commit. Okay, and remember guys, you need to add your message. So my message is going to be added a function. Alright, so I'll hit enter, and then I have successfully committed the new changes into my repository. So what you can do is do a git log, right, hit enter, and then you can see the first commit which I did, and you see the message added a function, the latest commit, sorry, added a function, and then the first commit which says my first commit. Now the git log also allows you to actually run some commands, for example git log -p, and this shows you all the changes you've made. Not, sorry guys, clear that, git log -p. okay, so this is going to show you all the changes you've made to your file. And another way to, you can use the arrow key. Okay, so you go down until you get to the end of the file, and the Q on your keyboard is going to exit out of that. I'm going to just clear that. Do some other git log commands like git log, okay, --one line. Okay, so you can see this command just gives me like a summary of exactly what I'm dealing with. You have this your share code right here, and then the head is pointing to master, added a function, of course my first commit, and you can just play around with this. Also you can do git show, which is another form of git log -p. So git show is also going to show you the same thing as your git log-p. So in the upcoming videos, we are going to start talking about talking about things like branching, and when we're done with branching, you'll see how you can start working with remote repositories. Now, in remote repository section is where you learn the difference between Git and GitHub. So GitHub is a remote repository where you host your Git files, and then other developers can go in there, download your files, and then make contributions to that. So I'll show you how you can connect a remote repository to this current working repository, and then how you can do that using the git push and the git pull command. So let's get right into that right away. Alright, so we'll explain what exactly we mean by branching. So what is branching really? I'll just explain to you what I mean by branching in Git. So branching is referred to as the killer feature in Git. Okay, now what this simply means is that if you are working on a project, for example, this is your project file, okay, .py file. Now you can actually do something when you make changes. So let's say you make the first change and then another change and then some other change. Now let's say I have a feature which I want to add to this particular file, but I don't want that feature, I don't want anything to affect my original file. Okay, what I can do is I can create a branch here, okay, and that branch is going to have like is going to be tracked in Git, so I can actually work on different features of my app or my project or my software right here. Okay, so this is a new branch, and then this is still going to keep on continuing just like I was. Now when I make changes to this branch, it's not going to affect everything in this particular in the particular master file. Okay, so of course this is going to be my master branch, right? And then this is going to be whatever. Let's say I call this branch addition. For example, I want to add a function to my file, and that function is just going to be a function that adds two numbers, but I don't want to disturb my master branch, so I can branch out, keep working on my addition file, and when I'm done working on my addition file, I can now merge my addition file. Okay, I can now merge my addition file right here to my master branch. Okay, and once I'm done merging my addition file, so your merge command comes in here. Once you're done merging your addition file, you can actually discard this or delete, or even go back to this particular branch, okay, and work on it. Now branching just helps you to work on your project without affecting the master file, okay, or the master branch or the main branch. Okay, so that is exactly what branching is. Now let us go into our code to actually make a branch, okay, and then make some changes to that branch. We are going to use certain command like git branch. Okay, then we will now enter into that branch, and then we will merge different branches together. Okay, all right guys, so currently on my Python course part in my git bash, and what I want to do is just create another file. Okay, and that file I'm going to call it addition. So I'll use the touch command, touch, and call it addition.py. okay, and this is a function I want to work on actually, and I want to work on this function, and I don't want it to affect my initial functions.py file. So what I can do is just code the addition.py file. So I'm going to open it in my Visual Studio Code, hit enter, and of course it's going to open addition. So I have functions.py, I also have addition.py. Now addition.py is simply going to be a function that, okay, so function add, and function add simply just accepts two numbers. So the first number is going to be x, the second number is going to be y, and then all it does is return x plus y, really. Okay, so let's say we're done with our function, right? And then let me just call my function for testing purpose and do 2,3, which is supposed to give us 5, right? And I'll come back here, I'll just clear this and run my file, and you see, oh, okay, so okay, so I'm going to run this. Alright, hello innocent, and functions.py, save this. Okay, so I'm still running functions.py. I'm supposed to be running additions, not function. So addition.py, guys, hit enter, and you see I'm returning this as usual. All I have to do is do a print right there. Okay, so print add, I'm going to save that and come here to run this again. So we have 5, so the code works. Now let's go back to our git bash, and let me just show you some things you can do. So in git bash, if I type git status, and you can see I have addition.py right now showing up. Now what I want to do is, I don't want to add this addition file to my functions or my initial master branch. What you can simply do in this case is you can create a new branch. Okay, so you can call it whatever you like. In this case, I'm just going to call it addition. Okay, and I'll hit enter, and that branch has been created. Okay, now to go into this branch, I need to use a git checkout command. Checkout, and the name of the branch, addition. Okay, so switch to branch addition, and you can see right here that I have addition. In the previous before this command, I had master here. Now you see I have addition. Now when you are in the addition branch, you can now do your git add. Okay, so when you do git add, oh, I always forget this dot, which adds everything to this addition branch, right? And then when you do git add, you can now do git status. Okay, and when you do git status here, you have new file addition. Okay, it's currently waiting to be added to your repository. Now next thing you need to do is do a git commit. Okay, so when you do a git commit and you do your message, so added a new file or whatever you want. I'm just trying to show you how it works, and then this will currently be pushed to your addition. All right, so if I really do like a git log here, you can see what my git log is saying. So added a new file. You can see the head is pointing to addition here, but here it's pointing to your master. Okay, and then the same for this very last one. So what can I do? I can actually just git checkout master, right? So git checkout master to move back to my master branch. Okay, now when I do a git checkout master, notice that my additions, my Python file now has just functions. Okay, my Python file now has functions, and you can see addition.py has been deleted. You can see it says deleted. Why? That's because of the power of branches, right? Now note that if I go back to my do my git checkout like this, and then I go back into my addition, right, notice that my addition file is now back up. Now if I want both files to now have the same functionality, I need to do a git merge. And how do I do that? I need to check out my master first. Okay, so git checkout master, and now I'm currently in master, and then I can do a git merge, and the name of the file which I want to merge into master, which is the addition, okay, and I'll hit enter. Once I do that, I've been able to merge that file, and you can see what happens here, that my my addition now shows up in my file, even though it was saying deleted previously. Now, of course, you can now do your git log to check your history. You can also do your git status as well to check. Sorry, git status, I didn't spell that correctly. Okay, you can do your git status, and it's just going to give you, of course, if you have anything staged, it's going to tell you. In my case, I have nothing staged currently, so I can do like a quick change to my function. Let's say, okay, so let's just do one more print statement. So we just say print my name, for instance, and then save this, and we open up our git bash and just do a git status now. So you see, I've modified addition. Then I can do a git add to put that in my staging area. Of course, don't forget your dot. I always forget that. And git add, and then I can do a git commit, and remember to put the message. Now, what if we don't put the message? What's going to happen? Let's see. Git commit. You see, it's going to open up and it's waiting for us to put a message right here and close the file. So added a print statement. Okay, so I'll just added a print statement, save that, and close this file. And then if we come back to our git bash, we can see that that commit has been made. Okay, so that's that about that. Let's move on to we talked about branching, and I explained to you exactly what branching is, and we saw how you can create a branch using the git branch command, and how you can enter a branch using the git checkout and the branch name, and then how you can merge two branches together really. Now, in the next video, we'll now talk about how you can work with remote repositories and have all these files being you can actually push all these files to a remote repository so that other developers or some other person can actually see your code and also clone them or fork them and then work with you on your code. You can also clone other public repositories as well and work on open source projects really in Git. And for the remote repository, we will need GitHub. So this is where GitHub actually comes in. So I hope you're learning a lot in this Git introductory course. And so let's just move on to creating a remote repository in GitHub and then pushing your code, okay, on your local repository onto a remote repo so everyone can have access to that code. Okay, so how do we do that? Now we need to go to GitHub. Alright guys, so to create a remote repository on GitHub, you just simply need to visit the GitHub website, which is github.com, and once that is loaded, of course I have a GitHub account and this is pretty easy for me. So before you get here, you need to open your GitHub account. Okay, so you need to sign up for a GitHub account, and signing up for a GitHub account is easy as well. All you need to do is you just go to github.com. so I'm using another browser so I can show you the sign up process and how easy it is. I'm just going to sign out. Okay, so this is what you are going to see, guys. All you need to do is click on sign up. Okay, very easy, guys. You click on sign up. Already have an account, sign in. So enter your email, and you're going to enter your email. So let me say let me use an email I haven't used before. Okay, so you click on continue. It says enter your password. So I'm going to pick this password and then it says enter your username. You're going to pick this username. So would you like to receive product update announcement, blah blah blah, and for no, I don't want to receive anything. And of course, please solve this puzzle to verify you are human. Click start puzzle to continue. So I'm going to click start puzzle and pick the spiral galaxy. Okay, so I think this is the spiral galaxy. One done. Pick the spiral galaxy. I think this is spiral galaxy. 2 done, and I'm good to go. So I click on create account, so you can see how easy it is. So it says I should enter the code which I received in my email. I'm just going to open up my email really and enter the code. So Chrome. So I'm going to open up my email right here, and you see I already have the code. I'm just going to copy the code. So I'm going to go back there. So that's the code. And of course, you see how many team members will be working on just me. Continue. So you see what specific features are you, collaborative coding, whatever, anything you want, you can really just choose what you want. Of course, community, project management, and then click on continue. And I'll go for the free version because you can actually have both a free and a team version. Okay, so $4 per month. No, I want to continue with the free version because you actually have the opportunity of having all these things in your free version. So you can see my GitHub account is currently set up. I'm just going to click on create a repository. Okay, and my repository is going to be Python course. Okay, alright, so Python course and public repository. And then the next thing you want to do, you can choose to create this, but I'm fine. Just click on create repository, and then my repository has been created. So this is my remote repo, and here you can see so create a new repository on command line, okay, or push an existing repository from the command line. So I'm just going to copy this like this right here, and then I would, okay, so I'm now in my Python course, so I just have to paste this right here. Remote already exists, and then I hit enter, and then you can see this is going to open up, and it will ask you for your personal token or sign in. Okay, so I'm going to click the sign in, and once I click the sign in, of course, you see I have to authenticate this, so I'll say authorize Git manager. So once I do that, if I come back here, I'll see that this my local working directory has been successfully pushed to my remote repo. Okay, so to just confirm that, I'll show you exactly what happened right here. So if I go back to my remote repo, okay, let me go back here, and then I hit this repository right here, you can see my files have been added. Okay, so you can see my addition.py and my functions.py, and you can see, of course, everything about this file right here. So the link to this particular file will be in the comment section as well. You can fork it, you can play with it, do whatever you want with it. That's up to you. So we've come to the end of this tutorial, and I hope you've been able to learn Git. So in the course of this tutorial, of course, you learned how to use Git, how to download and configure Git, and then you learned the Git basic command just like we said, and then you learned how to create a remote repository on GitHub and how to push your files onto the remote repository. So to fork your files, you just simply of course you now will click on the fork. So once you click on fork, you would get the opportunity to really fork this file and then play with it as you want. So thanks for watching this tutorial. Please consider subscribing to this channel so that we can continue learning. In subsequent videos we'll be talking about building websites with Python and Django. Our Python course is still up, and so many people are currently taking that course. If you feel like learning Python programming, you can easily click on the link in the description and you can start taking the Python course. So thank you for watching once again. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye.